people were saying, go to an agency, learn how to be an assistant, kind of get your badge, for lack of a better word, that you were in the trenches. And so I gave in and went and worked at ICM Partners as a talent agent assistant. And then from there, because I had no desires to be an agent or a rep. I just was never going to happen. So, I just didn't like, it felt to me very car salesman, without like a big regard for the actual career of their client. It was about making the buck and cashing the check and getting the commission. Which again, I'm not fully, like, I get it. We're in a business and we all have to make money, but it just felt disingenuous to me. A manager, possibly, that was another side that maybe it felt a little more like they're trying to curate a career, but the agents, I just was like, it felt a little icky. After that, I went over to Ridley Scott Associates in the commercial arm of Scott Free's companies, and just learned everything about commercials, which I knew nothing about, but really quickly understood that is the 9 to 5 for all those big high-end directors that we think about, which I never knew. But like at the time, Martin Scorsese was an RSA client, and he was doing like Budweiser commercials for the Super Bowl. And I get it, because I was looking at the treatments and I was seeing everything, and obviously getting the budgets. There was so much money that was being spent. And so he would go and, shoot in Montana for 4 weeks, get an amazing fee. And then that's why he could take like 10 years to work on his opus and like put together his, feature film project. So it was a really fascinating side of the business that I didn't know about, but I don't have a big passion for commercials. So I went over to AT&T, an audience network, because I had heard that they were starting a brand new network. They were trying to kind of compete with Netflix and be this entertainment company. And so I went over there as a development executive and a current programming executive. And that was a very, very unique situation, because, traditionally in the traditional media companies, you are either a development executive or you are a programming executive, and the two shall never, cross. But I got to do everything. So I got to field pitches and see projects that were out there, and figure out if we wanted to bring them onto the network. And then when we did and we greenlit them, I stayed with them alongside my other colleagues and executives, and gave script notes and cut notes and was part of the casting decisions, and then went on set and really watched it go from A to Z and up on its feet, and then ultimately aired, which was amazing. It was just one of the best, most incredible situations. And then a big corporate merger happened with Warner Media and that whole thing. And unfortunately, they shuttered the network. And so off of that, I just really was looking to independently kind of consult and develop and do what I had learned at Audience Network and RSA, and independently work on projects. And then I got a call from Mark Butan and Mad River Pictures, and they wanted to do a television department and a unit for their company. And so I ran television for Mad River Pictures, again, utilizing a lot of the same things that I had learned in terms of development and fielding outside pitches and projects that I thought we could develop and package and ultimately get to streamers and buyers, and then working with a library of content that they had to mine, what was already there. Again, just to ultimately get greenlit at the end of the day. And then COVID hit, which, was terrible and awful for everybody. And so I just tried to float and stay by and, again, independently consult. And then I was independently consulting at an unscripted production company for a while, doing international sales and development. And then I got a call from Meta to do entertainment for their Oculus headset, which was the wildest place to work for. They came to me, they were looking for someone, as an independent contractor to help with all the entertainment across the headset. So everything from kind of, traditional 2D content, but also all of their immersive content as well, and helping to kind of curate and program it accordingly. It was everything you would think, coming from a tech company. So insane resources, all the things at your fingertips, really, really smart people, and, access to all of these things. but with a very lack of focus on entertainment specifically, and on one thing for again, for lack of a better word, they aren't really sure where to kind of fit entertainment into their tech system. So it was interesting. I implemented a lot of kind of more traditional things from programming and curation, and they seemed to work, but it was hard to kind of keep them focused and get them on this idea of entertainment. Content is king and entertainment is power. And there was a opportunity to really make this headset an entertainment device, not just a gaming device, but like a one-stop shop to go and watch all your favorite shows and, engage in a different way. I worked for an incredible boss, David Unger, who was not an agent by any stretch of the word. He was like nice and kind and really operated more in that kind of managerial role. And he had a really eclectic taste and roster of clients as well. And he really instilled in me this like work ethic and foundation of certain just everyday things, in terms of follow up and responding back to people promptly and in a good manner, and just treating people well and with kindness, which was really, again, coming from that world, like different and refreshing, considering, most of the agents are everything you would think in terms of like Entourage and Ari, and like that's them. So he really helped guide and nurture me along, and exposed me to a lot of different, producers and production companies and so on. And then when I was at Audience Network, the two executives who were running the network, Bart Peters and Chris Long, were just phenomenal. Just really smart, fun, again, generous people who were willing to kind of give their time to show you how things, worked. Were they going to pull you aside and say, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and this is the reason I'm going to. No, but they were very open to, hey, like, come and sit in on this meeting and see how it works. Come in and sit on this call and see like what we're doing and the reasoning behind it. And that was really important. And that instilled in me, again, this balance of creative and business mind to all projects, to really understand, you can get really, really excited about something from business side, but if the creative thing doesn't work, it's a no-go, and vice versa. You could fall in love with the script in a project, but if it doesn't make sense, then you have to be smart and strategic about it. And that, really was a guiding light and a principle for me, as I moved forward in my career. I just have always, in growing up and seeing my parents and my mentors and just me in general, as I said, I think this business is really, really tough. It's really, really hard, and everybody needs help and a guiding hand and someone to, give back. If that weren't the case, nothing would ever get done. Nothing would be successful. And I think the people who don't recognize that and really, amplify that part of their careers, their journey, their company, are doing everybody a disservice. So I have had help along the way, absolutely, both on the way up and on the way down. And it's just really important to me, especially in our community, to put my arm around all those people and do what I can, because it's tough. We're all grinding along, and if I can help out in any way and help people in their careers and their journey and give them something, that's amazing. Like that's what it's all about, in my opinion.